Who you know put it down like Chris, with a style so lit, flow that sound like this. Trying to make every video a hit, so you won't wanna miss this week's This Is Chris.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to This Is Chris. What I'm gonna be talking about today is dysphoria. Just to briefly define it, is basically discomfort, the things that make you uncomfortable. So I'm going to be talking about some things that I both was and still am dysphoric about, and some things that I used to be dysphoric about that I'm not so dysphoric about anymore. And that's it, I guess. The first thing, and the one thing that I want to say I've been dysphoric about, or that bothered me about myself for the longest time, is my voice. Now I'm way more content and way more satisfied with my voice and where it's at, but it's something that I hated so very much in the past. For me, it was just so upsetting because times like when I would order food, or talk to telemarketers on the phone, or just speak to somebody who'd never seen me over the phone, and all the female pronouns just automatically were what they used, and that just really got to me and used to make me uncomfortable because I just felt like, damn, even when they can't see me, I can't pass, you know? Like, my voice is a giveaway too, so I just felt like that was one more thing for me to worry about that I couldn't change, and it just sucked. So when I started T, it was something that I was looking forward to very much, and it's something that started changing pretty fast too, and I'm very grateful for that. My voice has dropped significantly, and people notice it more than I do, really, because I hear myself talk every day. So but I do bug out when I watch videos of songs that I covered in the past, and I watch, I'll redo the covers again, and I'll play back the videos, and it's just, it's trippy. It's a bug out. It's cool to see the changes that my voice has made, and I'm really excited to see how much deeper it'll get as I keep going further into my transition, because I am only 7.5 months on testosterone, so there's still more time to go. There's still plenty of years to go. There's still plenty of changes and plenty of room for growth, so I'm looking forward to that. The second thing that I used to be super dysphoric about, and I still kind of am, but not as much as I used to, but I think it's still something that bothers me a good amount, and it's facial hair. Now, when I was a teenager and before I really knew what transgender was, I still wished my body was going through changes the way that my guy friends' bodies were going through changes. Like, I was jealous when their voices got deeper. I was jealous when they started growing, the stubs, and just puberty started hitting them differently than it started hitting me, and it just felt like females got the shitty end of the stick when it came to puberty. Facial hair was just, it was huge for me, and it sucked because, I remember being in high school and shaving my face, my peach fuzz, and thinking, well, maybe, it'll grow in thicker, and when people ask me what happened, I'll just be like, I don't know, it just started growing in thicker, so what am I gonna do? I just gotta let it grow. And, I was a kid, I thought I was slick, but it never did anything. Just peach fuzz kept growing back, and that was a bummer. That was definitely a buzzkill. But when I got on testosterone, talking to the doctor the day that I got my first shot, and he asked me what were the things that I was looking forward to most in my transition, and I told him facial hair. Definitely facial hair, because I want to look my age. I was tired of people assuming that I was 17 years old. When I told him that, my doctor's response was not to get too worked up about it and expect the hair to grow that fast, because it could take years for hair growth to happen. He said that most FTMs don't grow facial hair till a year to 2 years down the road of being on testosterone, and that kind of really killed my shit, to be honest. I'm like, oh damn, the one thing that I'm really excited about, he just told me is probably gonna be the one thing that I gotta wait the longest for. But didn't work out that way. 2 months on testosterone, I started growing a little bit of facial hair here at the bottom, and just as it kept going, as months were going by, just my hair was getting longer, and it's still pretty long already for somebody who's only been on it for 7.5 months, says my doctor. But again, everybody's different, so I'm sure there's a lot of other guys who started growing facial hair just as, as early as I did, maybe even sooner. But my doctor was very amazed when I went back for my 3-month checkup and I had some facial hair, and then when I went back for my 6-month checkup and I had a lot more, he was like, "Wow, you're growing hair really fast." And I was like, "Yeah, what can I say, So if I'm dysphoric about it now, I'm very proud of where it's at. Like, I love it, but there are times where I'm like, damn, there's still not as much as the typical guys my age have. It's not as full as I want it to be, so sometimes I do get a little dysphoric about it and I get a little upset. Then I just think to myself, I'm a lot further along than my doctor expected, so that's a good thing. And just picks my mood back up, and I keep reminding myself that I'm a work in progress, that this is a transition, and I have to just go with the flow and not rush it, because stressing it and being impatient is only going to drive myself crazy. Sitting back and waiting for the results to come in is way more enjoyable than constantly anticipating it and just building up all this anxiety about it. It's really not healthy, so I just kind of let it rock, and as the changes happen and people notice, I just feel better about myself. Something else that I'm still currently dysphoric about and always been dysphoric about is my height. I'm not short, but I'm not tall either. I'm average height. A lot of my guy friends are taller than me. A lot of guys in general are taller, and I don't know. I've always wanted to be taller. Always. Even younger as a kid, I always wanted to be taller, and it sucks because you can't really fix your height. You can't go stretch yourself out and grow a couple of inches. But I know that for FTMs there are other things I know that for anybody in general with dysphoria when it comes to height, even if you're not transgender and you have height dysphoria, there are these things called insoles, and they're height enhancing insoles, and you can put them in your sneaker. Nobody can see them, so they can't tell that you're wearing them, and they just give you a couple of inches. They sell them based off inch. You can get half inches, you can get 1 inch, 2 inch, as tall as you really want to be. There's a bunch of different brands, but if you just Google height enhancing insoles, they'll give you a bunch of websites and a bunch of different brands and companies where you can get them at. I know some guys do that. And then there are just a lot of guys that just rock with it, just hope you find a girl that's shorter, or, a girl that doesn't mind short guys or average height guys. So my height is, definitely something that I'm dysphoric about, but, what am I going to do? There are short cisgendered guys, and they live with it, so I'm going to have to just learn how to live with it. The fourth thing that I wanted to talk about that really, really makes me dysphoric is my chest. Now, I've always hated my chest. When I was 9 years old and it started changing into a female chest, worst day of my life. It hurt. It was uncomfortable. And I remember thinking to myself, if this is supposed to be something great that, women go through, why does it suck so bad? Why does it hurt? Why are they sore? Why do I have to wear an extra piece of clothing now, just to protect them? Why? It's too much work. And I hated it. As they got bigger, the dysphoria got worse. I always used to wear bigger shirts to hide it. I was always doing this, and I hated that. Always pulling on my shirt just to cover any kind of anything that you could see that showed a form of a boob or anything. I used to slouch a lot more, which I hated because I hated slouching, and it was it's bad for you, and I just hate the way slouching looks. But I would prefer to slouch and look foolish slouching than for you to see my chest. Then I discovered binding, and I learned what binding was, and that's what a lot of trans men do to flatten their chest and pass. There is a thing called a binder. There's different kinds of binders, but for the most part, there's mid-tank ones that look like a tank top here at the top, but it stops halfway. It literally just flattens your chest. It's a piece of clothing that is tight, It pulls on your chest. It goes by size, so before you bind, like, make sure you get your chest size and all that good stuff. And then there's another kind that's like a full tank. It looks like just a regular tank top, and it comes down all the way like a regular tank top, and it does the same thing, you know. I'm wearing one now, and you can't really tell. It just makes it look more like a muscular chest, or, you know, just like a regular chest. There are some guys that use KT tape. I bought KT tape. I have some. I intend on trying it, but I have not yet, so I can't really tell you guys how that works or like how it is. I know how they do it, but I don't want to give my opinion on something that I have not experienced myself yet. So when I do try it, I will probably throw it in another video later on. Maybe do a comparison using binders to KT tape. But the binder definitely helps my dysphoria a lot. Like, I don't do this anymore because I know it's not visible. Sometimes if I'm wearing a shirt that's like loose on the neck, you can kind of see it come out a little bit, and that's annoying, and that kind of makes me dysphoric. It makes me think, like, are they looking at me? Are they thinking, oh my god, this dude's wearing a sports bra, like, what's going on there? But for the most part, you know, the binder really makes life a whole lot easier and a whole lot more enjoyable. Whenever I do get dysphoric about my chest, I just keep telling myself that, you know, this isn't forever. One day I will get my surgery, and when I do get my chest surgery, you know, things will get better, and one day I'll have the chest that I want. And I just keep reminding myself that patience is a virtue. It is something that I lack, and this transition is teaching me to have very much of it. So patience, 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 patience. That's what I keep telling myself, and it's what I'm learning on this transition, and it is what I currently need in my life. So that's a plus. The last thing that I want to talk about is something that I feel like most, if not all, trans guys are dysphoric and uncomfortable with. This can apply for pre-op guys that have not gotten gender reassignment surgery, and this can apply to post-op guys who have gotten gender reassignment surgery. Let's just say sex in general. I mean, it's vague to say sex, but I feel like you have to at the same time, because there's so many different ways to be dysphoric about it. But for the trans man, like, you carry yourself and you look like a man on the outside. So first, let me explain that there are a lot of FTM guys who don't want to get the bottom surgery, and there's many reasons for that, and to each his own. It's their body, so do with it what you want. And then there's a lot of transgender guys that do want to get the gender reassignment surgery, and for those there are several options for that. I don't want to get into all that craziness yet. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is when a trans man is going to have sex with a woman, and let's just say for the first time. And it doesn't even have to be for the first time, because even someone who's been in a relationship for 3 years, you know, like, there are just some times where you think to yourself, like, I don't really know how to explain it. I'm just going to try to explain it the best way that I can. I mean, like, the dysphoria with the genitalia. Like, let's say, for example, you're dating somebody and you guys have been getting to know each other, and you're finally getting to that point where you're ready to get intimate with one another. You might think to yourself, like, damn, you know, like, this is the part typically where a guy, you know, pulls out his penis, and I lack in that department. You may start to feel the type of way about yourself, but you just have to learn how to cope with that dysphoria and learn how to get yourself out of that thought space. There's really no way to avoid it either. It's going to happen being a trans man. There's just going to be some times where you're just going to be uncomfortable with, you know, with your genitalia, but you, as the individual, have to find what puts you back in your comfort zone, what makes you feel good about yourself, like what gets you out of that funk. So another example would be, let's say, for a post-op guy. I can't speak on experience because I'm not post-op, I'm pre-op. You know, like, yours, it's going to look a little different. It's not going to look exactly like a cisgendered male's genitalia. When a post-op guy is going to get intimate with a girl, he sometimes might have the thought cross his mind where, you know, like, mine looks different, you know, is that going to turn her off, or is that going to make her feel a type of way? You just have those dysphoric moments, but again, you as the individual have to know how to get yourself out of that. Hey, she might not like it. oh well, again, to each his own. There's plenty of fish in the sea. You're gonna find somebody who's gonna be okay with that, somebody who's gonna love your body just as much as you do. But at the end of the day, the point is that you have to love your body. Before you can allow anybody else to love your body, you yourself must love your body. That is the point. There's no way that you can go out and love somebody else unless you learn to love yourself first. I feel like that's the problem with the world nowadays. They're so quick to go and give what they think is love to everybody else, but they haven't even learned to love themselves. How can you love somebody else if you don't even know what love feels like because you don't love yourself? There's just a lot of different ways that trans men can get dysphoric about sex, but point is, it's not easy being sexually active as a trans man. It's hard enough to find somebody that makes you comfortable enough to be intimately involved with them. It is a roller coaster and it does get hard. I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat it and say that it doesn't get hard sometimes. It gets incredibly hard because sometimes you just get so unhappy with yourself that it doesn't even matter who your partner is. Like, when you're not happy with yourself, you get dysphoric and uncomfortable. You gotta be strong. Do not let your dysphoria beat you. You gotta beat the dysphoria. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of things that I personally get dysphoric about and make me uncomfortable. There's plenty of other things that one can be dysphoric about. There's not one specific thing you can be dysphoric about. You can be dysphoric about anything, so everybody's story is different. Some things may bother me that won't bother the next guy. Some things may bother the next guy that don't really get to me. I hope that that video was helpful to somebody. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give it a thumbs down. Comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And oh, before I close out, if you guys have any questions that you want me to answer or anything that specifically you want to know about me, hit me up on the DM or Snapchat me. I'm gonna leave both social medias in the description below. Let me know what you want to know. Just send me any kind of questions, any questions that you want me to send me, any questions you want me to answer, anything you want to know about me specifically, so that I can put together some content for a Q&A video. Go send me any suggestions that you have for videos, anything that you want me to talk about, any topics you want me to discuss. If not, I will try my best to come up with some great ideas. But yeah, so again, like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next week with another video. So again, like, share, comment, and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Peace.